significant positive. Back to you.
Okay, Sonia, thanks very much for that. Well, busy day for the auto space, definitely. But let's concentrate on one company that actually came out with what was a very steady set of numbers this quarter. In fact, Orient Cement is the stock that I'm talking about. Today, it's not doing that much. It's up only 1%. But if you look at it on a YTD basis, in 2014 itself, that stock, Anuj, has given returns of close to 200%. So it's a huge multi-bagger in terms of a YTD performance. To talk about the Q1 numbers, Deepak Khetarpal, the MD and CEO of Orient Cement, now joins in. Hi, sir. Thanks very much for joining in today. Your realizations have gone up 7% on a sequential basis versus estimates of around 4 to 5%. Can you just tell us what the trajectory for volumes as well as realizations would be for the coming quarters for the company?
Well, for the coming quarters, as we speak, it's still too early, but the month of July that we've gone through has been a strong month, both in terms of volumes and prices. August, September typically are monsoon months, with the monsoon now getting back to strong to modest in most of the country, most of the markets that we service. We're just waiting for the trends to emerge. August, September are the months that normally are soft in every year. So if you go by July and the trend holds up, it's a very good time, but I think the rains also are required by all of us, so we won't wish the rains away, just to have some short-term gains.
Okay, Mr. Khetarpal, hi, good morning. Your overall capacity utilization was 86%. If you could break it between South and West?
Well, out of the total output that we sell about 30% in South, if you want to call it. We actually sell only in Telangana, largely, amongst the southern states. And almost 70% that we talk about actually goes into Western markets, which are Maharashtra largely, a bit in Gujarat, a bit in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, but largely 30%, 70% is what our breakup is between South and West / Central.
What do you think you can clock in terms of an EBITDA per ton going ahead? And the reason I ask you is that it was lower by 70 rupees year on year, but it's jumped up sequentially. So what is the trajectory looking like? And where do you think it will settle? It was at 595 rupees, if I'm not mistaken, in the quarter gone by.
Well, our calculation is actually closer to 625 than 590. I don't know what calculations you made, but let's assume it's around 600 rupees. With the prices that the market has been able to give us in the month of July, and the August prices are continue to be steady, we would certainly be looking at EBITDA of between 750 to 800 rupees in this quarter.
Okay. Also, Mr. Khetarpal, your target is to become 15 million ton company by 2020. That's almost doubling. How would you be able to do that? And you have a roadmap in place for that?
Absolutely. Now, what the plans that we are making right now is if from 5 to 8 we will be, let's say by the time we finish this financial year that we are in right now, first quarter FY16 is what we are promising to add 3 million tons fully commissioned. Okay, so that takes it to 8 million. But then we have some visibility about limestone mines in the northern markets, which we are chasing with the respective state governments. So that from now, let's say once we commission the current Gulbarga plant very early in next financial year, there's only one more greenfield that we are planning, that will be northern markets, between 2 to 3 million tons. Then there is the second phase of our Gulbarga plant. Once stabilized, we have enough limestone and also enough land available to add one more line of similar capacity in the what we will call brownfield expansion at that time. And there is every likelihood of we making at least one acquisition, our sweet spot being around 2 million tons or thereabouts. So that's how it adds up to about 15 million tons by 2020.
Okay. Just one last question from me, Mr. Khetarpal. We do understand that you are obviously operating majority in the south. What is the situation in terms of incremental infrastructure projects or any sort of development that we could see in Andhra Pradesh as well as Telangana? Are you seeing much more activity in terms of infrastructure there? Can you just throw some light on that?
Well, currently in terms of activity, I believe it's a little too soon. But yes, our contacts with the governments both in Andhra Pradesh, Simandra as some people are referring to it, and Telangana, both the governments are extremely proactive in getting this process of development forward very, very quickly. We in fact have met the officials and met even the Chief Minister of Telangana. What we are hearing from them is extremely positive, extremely encouraging. They are promising to not only roll out the proverbial red carpet, but also single window clearances, land being made available for additional investments to come into the state. So a lot of positive support, at least in terms of sentiment and words that we've heard whenever we have spoken to both these governments. Okay. Given that, the fact that Andhra has to create a new capital, there is no getting away from a significant investment in infrastructure there. And Telangana being such a resource-rich state but not enough industry, has to create grounds for industry to come and invest in that state. So those are imperatives for governments. It's just a question of by when they will actually start getting rolled out at the ground level. So which might be, like I said,
Okay. Fair enough. So we leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining in and taking us through your numbers. That's Orient Cement. Currently, the stock is flat. But for the Nifty, we're holding at 7,600, just about above that at this point in time. Take a break. But up next, back to the markets then. F&O action is lined up with